Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Hentai Literature Club, where here we look at hentai through the lens of literary criticism. I'm your host, the head of the Hentai Literature Club, the club president Josh from Caffeinated Conquest. Today I'm joined by our usual panelists, Xavier, Melinda, Chaz, and Anai.
And we don't get to introduce ourselves anymore. Maybe they're sick of us.
Well,
Get to the porn, losers!
Yeah, well, today the tag we're going to be talking about is Futanari. So who here would like to explain to the audience what Futanari is?
Chicks with dicks.
Yeah.
By some circumstance or another. Either by magic or experiment or...
Sometimes they're just born that way, right?
Yeah.
From all the ones I've read, it's usually like some weird thing like magic or an experiment like...
Well, some of them have like in-universe. Chicks just have
yeah,
big.
that,
It's like,
well, yeah, true. I've seen it with sometimes monsters.
There's different levels of chicks with dicks, right? There's just sometimes it's just like the penis is just they're replacing the clit where it would be. Sometimes there's balls and underneath that's the vagoo. Sometimes there's just not, and they're just basically dudes with tits.
Well, sometimes it comes out of the vagina too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So is there something that the audience can expect from the tag from like a typical Futanari work? What kind of elements might be present?
You probably might get some confusion on what you're into. Well, there's a lot of the female wanting to experiment with the penis, right? Because they don't know what it feels like. But as soon as they do,
That is a theme that's cropped up a lot.
they just don't know how to stop.
I definitely would like to get into that later. So before we read these texts, what was your impression of the tag, and what was it that you were expecting from Futanari stories? Whether you were familiar with what the tag was, or if this was something you've experienced often beforehand.
Yes.
You know, I gotta tell you, I don't often go into these with any preconceived notions. It's more like, let's see what Josh picked this time. What did I expect from Futanari? Well, obviously, I expected women. I expected those women to have penises, and I expected them to use them in a explicit manner. And I was not disappointed.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's just usually how it goes.
they get a penis and they're just like, man, what does this thing do? It's great.
So it seems like one of the main things you can expect with a Futanari story is experimentation. Because it kind of crosses that boundary between masculinity and femininity, because it's women who have sometimes both female and male genitals, but they mix the boundary between what it is to be a man and what it is to be a woman, at least in a sexual manner.
I was gonna say, like, it crosses like what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman, but I feel as though like these texts present a very, what's the word, preconceived notion of what it feels like to be a man and what it is to have manhood.
Would you say it kind of concedes to like typical gender expectations or heteronormativity?
I'm confused on how you mean gender expectations.
Like, they play when they have a penis, they kind of play a traditional masculine role in
It's
the
not
sexual
only
relationships.
that, it's more like an outsider looking in and their view of gender expectations and heteronormativity, but not
what
necessarily...
they think a penis feels like to
Yeah.
men.
Which actually brings up something you spoke about in an earlier episode about how sometimes these writers may not be terribly...
Experience.
Right. Do you know anything about who wrote these tags? Do you know if they were men or women?
No, I usually try to avoid looking up too much about the author because I guess it kind of goes into, what would you call it? Not.
Well, you said that in literary criticism you try to completely disregard the author more or less, right?
Well, it depends on the kind of criticism you're doing. Like the basic version that you're going to learn in high school and that you'll use at the beginning of college. I'm trying to remember what it's called. It's
You can just explain it.
Sometimes it's called Russian criticism. I think sometimes it's called new criticism. I know it has a specific name, but I can't remember what it is. But it's a school of criticism that is typically used to teach people who aren't experienced with literary criticism how to get into it. And usually it's a lot of, here's the text, You don't have the weight of when this was written, who wrote it, or the context in which it was written. Just here's the text. What do you think it means, kind of thing. And that's also how people are taught how to use literary tools, like how does a setting impact what's going on? Why is that important? How do characters speak? How do they think? Why do you think they take the actions they do? That's all part of this particular school of criticism. And that's why if I was writing like an essay or something like that, I would definitely look into who the author was and maybe look into what kind of magazine was this story published in and things like that, to get a better context about what the story might be doing.
Okay, now before I continue, is there any particular school of literary criticism that you would like us to adhere to? Do you think the Russian criticism is more palatable for a audience that might not be familiar with what we're doing? Or would you want to go the balls deep like many of our heroines today?
No, I think I'm trying to adhere to a more broader idea of like literary criticism and theory.
Because I was going to ask, like, I wonder if texts like these tend to be authored more by men or women, just because a very strong theme does seem to be like a woman wanting to try out a penis for a day, basically.
Or a man who just is enthralled with the way his penis feels.
Yeah, I want to know too.
Or a man who is trying to depict how a woman would feel about a penis. Like, what would she think? I think it feels like.
Which we have no idea, right? Like, having a vagina could feel 1,000 times better.
Well, there's the difference in orgasms.
Yeah, that's true too. But all I'm saying, is Melinda will get 5, 6, or 7. I get 1.
So really, which one is better here?
Exactly.
Like, because these girls both said having a penis feels amazing and that the orgasm's amazing, and kind of make it seem like it's better than a female orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
But then she falls
And
asleep.
it's stronger. So.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's just realism creeping in.
I'm done.
Although, how much of that goes back to just hentai orgasms in general, where the guy's got a Gatling gun between his legs?
Yes. Doesn't stop.
I'd definitely like for us to get really into what we're talking about. Towards the
I
end.
want to get into the smart.
Yeah. No, what I'm thinking, I think the critic I'm thinking of that's Russian, I think his name is Mikhail Bakhtin, but this school is sometimes called formalism or new criticism. And that's the one I want to try to stick to mostly because it's pretty easy for people to get into, and it involves a lot of, let's just look at what we're reading.
So wait, the formalism school relies less on detail? What's the other one called?
No, well, there's tons. There's
okay.
moral criticism, dramatic construction, psychoanalytic, Marxist reader response, structuralism, semiotics, postmodern,
We'll leave morals
new
to
historism, cultural studies, postcolonialism, feminist studies, gender studies, queer theory, critical race theory, and there's even more than that. Those are just the main ones.
Gotcha.
But this is kind of like an overall easy, just what do you get out of it?
Sure.
Yeah,
I
guess you could say
think
it's
that's more palatable for the audience.
Yeah.
Not to insult our audience. I hope it doesn't come off that way. Let's face it. There's a contingent of people that only listen to this for recommendations.
That's perfectly acceptable.
And some people have already read everything.
Hey, good on you, Daryl. You are a fucking champ.
So yeah, we were kind of already getting into this, but why do you think people are interested in this tag? What do you think draws people to Futanari?
Again, I think.
Some people just probably think it would be interesting to experience that.
Again, I don't know if this is part of the, what would you say it was called, foundational criticism or fundamental
Formalism.
God damn it, started with an F.
Formalism.
Fucking criticism.
Yeah. Formalism or new criticism, whatever you think is easier to remember.
I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it gets in. Like, do demographics tend to factor into formalism at all? Okay.
No.
We can ignore that. I imagine that this is something that appeals much more to women who are, and like even Melinda has expressed it before. I wonder what a penis feels like. I wonder what it's like to have one.
Oh, yeah,
It's fantastic.
You guys get everything easier, of course.
You saw this story. You
It
saw
is
how
not
great it
easier.
was.
You have never had to walk around with a boner all day.
And you've never had a period,
Okay, that's
so
true.
sit down.
You've never.
I'm just saying I get boners more often than you get periods.
Oh no! Whatever shall you do?
I'm teasing.
You've also never had to go to a disgusting bathroom and have to like aim and try to not sit in it because you can get diseases by just sitting in on a bathroom.
Okay, that is also.
I heard that's a myth.
No, that's a thing.
So, like, even though it may not be part of like a specific school of criticism, I like to ask the question, which we've already started getting into: do you think this appeals more to men or to women? Because to me, for men, I can see the appeal that
You don't
that
see
you
other
don't
guys.
you don't have to see another man in the story, but there's still the element of penetration and ejaculation that's there.
I also
Right.
didn't see any male on dick girl. It was only dick girl on female.
That
That's
is something
true.
that happens.
No, I've seen a lot of.
Right, but we're talking about the text today.
Oh, okay, true.
And in these particular texts, I did not see any male on dick girl, which I feel would be more for men. But these particular works, I think, were geared a little bit more toward women.
Wait. Why is that geared more towards men? That to me, that sounds more like the yaoi bisexual set.
No, because some guys, I mean, if you're looking for Fuda,
Maybe you want to be penetrated by a
that
lady
no, or
with a
the,
penis.
so there's also male on dick girl. Like, I don't mind you having a penis, but you also having tits and vagina is fantastic. And so, it comes into some stories about accepting their their body for what it is.
I guess, but
That's part of the reason why I appreciate it.
just in terms of, I guess, the tag, then if that is the case, what is the futa part for?
Because you see a penis.
The novelty of it? I
Okay,
don't know.
I guess.
As a bisexual woman, it's cool, babe.
Some,
If I wasn't with you and that was a real thing,
Also-
I would be all over it.
So if you're watching any kind of pornography, you want to see a big penis. There's no like if you have you don't want to see a small, almost childlike penis, right? That's just weird and uncomfortable for everybody.
I mean,
Until we get to that tag.
You also
But
don't want to see
I'm
a
not.
penis
But
too
see,
big.
I don't watch porn looking at the guy. Like,
Yeah, but there's penetration, right? From what? A big, throbbing penis. That's where you get the actual excitement from. Not this little, tic tac that just kind of rubbing in there. You want to see a big old penis.
I mean, I personally don't want to see a Tic Tac, obviously, but I also don't want to see a huge,
Oh, yeah.
huge
Yeah,
penis.
these-
That's just
not
gonna
a
be
whale
painful.
one.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
in the hentai world, everybody can take
I guess.
these
yeah.
huge, massive penises.
I gotta tell you, I really could not give a fuck what the guy is packing.
Yeah,
mean-
well, you see,
Well,
that's because you haven't seen bad porn.
So, are you complimenting my taste, or are you saying I don't know how to take that?
I'm saying like from more pornographic sites, there's if you're a porn star, you're a porn star for a reason. If anybody's lacking, it's noticeable.
I think what Xavier's kind of getting into is that hentai and live action pornography, they're both rely on the visual element because you're not in there experiencing what's happening.
I would say something that's a little graphic, but I guess that's the point.
Yeah, go
It's,
ahead.
it's the gape that some guys like too. It's like, damn, she can take all that. That's rad.
Or is it like imagining that you have that size of penis too? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Well, also, like, is that exciting for you as a woman? Like, does it feel better to get stretched wider?
For me personally, yes. There's probably other girls that are just like, ow, that fucking hurts. Get off me.
Well, yeah, well, it would depend from vagina to vagina, right?
I guess.
I mean,
yeah.
I'm small, so yeah.
But yeah, like as I was saying, like it's a visual element in what's happening when there's a larger penis. I think it's part of the reason why in pornography women tend to have a larger bust size or they tend to have bigger butts or bigger hips is because you're looking or you're taking part in something that is extremely visual, and so the aspects that you like are highlighted and they're made
They're brought to the fore.
yeah, they're meant to be what you're focusing on. And so I think it's like a visual thing that happens in your brain where if it's bigger, it's easier for you to look at it, it's easier for you to focus on it. I think
I think that's just because guys like big titties.
Well,
I don't feel like that needs a more scholarly.
Yeah.
for
answer.
guys, if you see a penis, you get competitive. That's
So then doesn't-
that's your lizard brain penises.
Right.
Seeing another man's penis makes you competitive.
So then, doesn't that kind of work against your large tallywhacker theorem?
Well, no, because you're like, man, I bet I can give it to her harder.
Even though,
That's your lizard brain.
even though that guy
It's
has a huge
competitive.
penis.
You and I just do not watch porn the same way.
I mean, I know the way that, like, so I know what it is consciously, but I also understand what it is subconsciously. You get it?
I understand what you're saying. That does not echo my own experience.
Well, I mean, I'm not going. I was just like,
We're not arguing who's right about porn. My porn is correct.
I'm not going through just watching a little Asian girl get fucked by 4 black dudes. Like, nah, yeah, I think I could drench her in more semen. I'm telling you, that's what it is. Scientifically.
Okay, I think I understand.
So in terms of appeal, we've kind of talked a lot about mostly heterosexual men and women and who do you think this is appealing for. But because the women in Futanari stories kind of cross back and forth between that boundary, do you think there's appeal for people who might be transgender or people who are transsexual or people who belong to the LGBTQ plus community in stories like this? Like you mentioned as a bisexual woman that this has some appeal to you.
Yeah, I'm into men and women.
I mean,
You get both. Like, if you don't have the vagina with the dick, you have the dick and you have boobs, so that's cool.
I do have to agree with that. Boobs make everything
And she's a
better.
cute girl, so, good job.
Like, I have to imagine if I was a lesbian, like, that would... Or a bisexual woman, that'd be pretty cool for me, too.
So how did you all expect the tag to influence the text, either narratively or visually?
It was going to be the main selling point.
Yeah, I definitely thought the plot, if there's any, would be centered around
the
the
penis.
penis.
Which is what happens, and it's not like something like breast, where
It's
they're
just
just
kinda
something
there.
that's there, or it's kind of more like tentacles, where it's something where because it's there, it's going to influence the story, and it's going to be a focal point of what's happening. Like, for example, in the 2 texts we're about to look at, the growth of the penis and the use of it is the focal point of the story, rather than something that just happens to be tacked on or just another element within it. Like how you thought about one of the tentacle stories we read last time, where there were elves in the story, but you thought it was just something tacked on there.
Right, gotcha. I will say that... Although, well, no, if we're just looking at these texts today, then I will say then yes. In both of them, it was a main focal point and driving force of the plot.
Okay. Yeah, let's get into the first story we're going to be looking at, which is by Sanagi Torajirou. It is Jikken Shimai, Experiment Sisters. So who here would like to kind of give the recap for what you saw happen? Or what is this? What literally happens in this story?
Well, I'll let someone else describe this.
Okay, no, we don't get to do a porn podcast and get all shy when it's time to talk about porn. All right, so this one chick has a sister that is like some kind of like Dexter's Lab super genius, and decides that she's going to test out this, I guess, gender transition experimental medicine on her. And it doesn't take all the way, and it just wakes up with a dick one day. And apparently it feels super good, and it's just the most mind-blowing thing ever, so she physically cannot stop herself from using it, and she continuously has to masturbate, and then her sister tells her that the only way to change her back to normal is to empty the semen from her testicles, which is the symbol of a man or something. I don't remember the exact quote. So she's basically jerking off all day in class, in the hallway, and then her sister comes to check on her, and she basically starts fucking her sister. And then eventually she does drain her testicles, she goes back to normal, and she asks her sister to experiment on her again.
I'd actually like to get to that. That's on the 4th page of this text. Where
Right, I have a feeling that's something that leapt out to both of us.
Yeah, where is it? I believe it's on the 5th page where she says, well, if you want to return your body to normal, you're going to have to empty the semen from your testes. That's the symbol of being a man after all. And his sister says, you can't be serious. Why do you think this text says that ejaculation is a symbol of being a man.
It's not ejaculation. I think it's having semen.
The semen.
It's like a lot of guys go through that same like mental process when they go to get a vasectomy, that they don't have that virility, that potence anymore. They feel like it makes them less of a man, which honestly that kind of does feel like a jab to guys who have had a vasectomy. It's like, yeah, you're not as much of a man. I think that's a really shitty viewpoint.
Well, I feel like that's just part of human nature.
Yeah,
like your purpose, our purpose here is to just keep having kids, kind of thing. And if you can't have kids anymore, then what? You're not a man.
Yeah, if
you
you
can't
don't reproduce, you're the first one in your line to do so.
Yeah, it's like the biological imperative to reproduce, and it kind of plays into that.
So what does that mean for guys that don't want kids? Like, are they less of a man?
No, I don't think we're agreeing with the.
Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
understand
we're
what you're
not-
saying, but I'm taking the thought to its logical
okay.
conclusion.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. That's something we'd have to figure out or think it through. I said ejaculation because she doesn't specify semen. She says emptying the semen from your testes is the symbol of being a man.
I took it as the other way around. Having semen in your testes is the symbol of a man. You get rid of the symbol, you stop being a man.
Yeah, that's how I saw it too.
Xavier, how did you take that when you read that?
I mean, I took it as her ejaculating is the symbol, but not the ejaculation itself, but her being able to produce all that semen. I think because is there a fixed amount of semen that she can produce? Because that's a lot of semen that we see later on. It's like, oh, you have to get out all your semen, which. I think if she had all that semen, her balls would be a little bigger.
I mean, like I said, hentai Gatling gun, dude. Just. What were you saying earlier about magic Japanese semen?
Magic Japanese semen. Oh yeah, well it's because we see her. What is that? Right. That's a lot of pre-cum.
Oh yeah, it's really
But then it
just leaking
disappears.
out. He's referring to later in the story. It's very clear that she gets her ejaculation all over her clothes and her sister's
Yeah.
clothing.
And it's not.
But then
all
she
over.
wakes up again later and
They're both
they're
squeaky
both
clean.
yeah, they're both pretty clean.
She also ejaculates into her bag. Moving on.
Yeah.
Did you see the way that was like goosh with like fucking waves crashing and shit? I
Also,
can't
wait,
do that.
Go back to the train. So she went to school with an erection, and she's just on her phone. No, if you have an erection, you know it.
Yeah. Also, there's no way she didn't feel like the wind on that son of a bitch.
Seriously. And
Also, how can you not see? Even if you are in
and
the phone,
then-
it's a little large.
There's something else going on that panel where it seems like all the men who see her penis through her skirt seem very much into it.
Yeah, they're like, damn.
You think?
Well,
Yeah.
look at that guy.
He's blushing hella hard.
He's got a wife beater and I guess shorts.
And they're all
Okay,
covering
like,
their penises.
I'll give
Or
you
two.
that the fucking Popeye motherfucker there on the far left looks like he's into it, but Specs there in the center, I don't think
I
he's.
think he's just like,
But he's covering his lap with something, so maybe he's pretty excited about
Oh,
what's happening.
huh. I didn't notice that. And yeah, it looks like fucking Popeye dude's trying to hide his dick too.
I'm just reaching here though.
Hang on, I'm trying to see a closer.
and
shot.
then so she's on the train, has this erection, and she keeps it, right, until she gets into class, and then we find out in class it's still there. This erection does not go away.
Yeah, every dude in that train is pretty into it. As I'm looking closer here,
So
they're all blushing and like covering their laps.
So she's had this erection this entire time, not feeling it, and it's like, oh no, I had an
It's
erection, I
still
should
there.
cover this up.
okay, but I mean, I've obviously never had a penis in high school, but isn't it obvious?
I mean, well, no, you
For a day.
you
Yeah.
absolutely could have. Let's not laugh.
But like,
I don't mean you personally.
I know.
I'm trying to be accepting of transgender people.
But
You're watching.
it's just like she's jerking off in the middle of class and nobody's noticing. Did anybody? But then I've also
Not
heard.
any of us
Hold on.
personally.
Okay, well,
I have heard that that's something guys do.
I've actually witnessed a guy do that before.
Really?
Yeah,
I had a friend.
I
who
was
did that.
scared.
Oh.
in
He
class?
sat like in class. He sat like in the table. Like I had a table here and he had a table over there, and like I had dropped my pencil and like I go to reach and like I look over and like he's just down there and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I went to go to the nurse's office, I think, that day because I wasn't feeling good. And then I see him in the bathroom. In the boys' bathroom, you can see the opening. You can see at least the other end of the wall with the row of mirrors, and he's just sitting there in the mirror, just whacking away. And I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna leave. That's freaking creepy.
I've never seen anybody masturbate in class. However, I have in high school gone to the bathroom multiple times to hear people saying another girl's name very loudly.
That's never fucking happened to me. I don't know if everybody I knew was just more ninjas about that shit or what, but also I think
I've never understood that.
I think exhibitionism is a part of the tag here, though. Honestly,
It has to be. She's at one point doing it. She's having
In the
sex
middle
in
of
the
a
middle of the
hallway.
hallway. Yeah.
But right now she's in class, and look at it. I don't care if I'm in the middle of class. I need this. All reason goes out the window because her skirt feels good around her penis.
Do you think there's some element of like almost puberty play where she's first beginning to experience male
And
sexuality?
she just can't
Yeah.
stop. Like, this is fantastic.
Probably.
Why wouldn't I ever want this penis?
I never had that issue.
Really?
Well, maybe it's because I was homeschooled throughout middle school. I don't know. I've never
Yeah,
had.
I guess masturbating to a teacher would be a little weird.
What I mean is,
Well,
I've
you need
never.
to have like that urge and just like can't get rid of it. Like that
Yeah,
you can't
I-
even control yourself.
I've never been in the middle of a class, like they're drawing fucking algebra diagrams on the chalkboard. I'm like, I really need to whack off right now. Holy shit, that fucking pie is a slut.
I mean, but what I think for a lot of guys, when you're going through puberty, there's like very small things that can just set off an erection.
That's true.
Dude, just like sometimes a girl would pass by and there'd be like the smell of her hair, and it's all of a sudden.
Nut.
Does that happen to you often?
Was that an issue for all three of you?
It happens. Like, yeah, especially if you're like super horny, any tiny little thing can set you
Or like,
off.
what if your pant kind of touches your penis weird and then just
Yeah, anything sets that thing off. It is
Just like a
Oh
It is
my
a
God.
ticking time bomb of
It
destruction.
is a troublesome child that you have to constantly manage. Now, my favorite boner killer, all right, because you need to have these things. Because you can't. I mean, it's really embarrassing to walk up to it's like, oh, you got to come up here and do something. It's like, do I have to do it right now? Okay. And so my favorite boner killer, right, is because I'm pretty good at figuring people out. And so when you spend as much time with them as you do in the classroom, you can be like, oh, like, well, she's pretty hot, but then I would think, okay, but what's her personality actually like? Boom. Instant droop.
Oh, she's dumb. God, my boner is gone.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have that thing, like, I remember, like, somewhere around high school, where it would get hard if you sat too long?
What?
You okay, Xavier?
What?
Literally, when I was in high school, I wouldn't even have to be aroused. I would just be sitting for a while, I'd stand up, and it would just be ready to go. I was like, literally,
yeah.
I wasn't even in the
Yeah.
mood. It's just
What?
Yeah.
primed and ready.
Yeah, that's just, it just happens. Like, it's just, your body's just like, hey, is your penis still working? Yup.
See, that's what I'm talking about when I say walking around with a boner all day. It just flies off out of nowhere.
But it is something very noticeable. Both obviously to the guy and other guys and other women who are aware of the boner. Not your specific boner, of the boner phenomenon. They'll be like, that guy's got a boner.
I just never noticed them. I don't know if other girls have noticed
Well, I
them.
mean-
I just never did.
Yeah, I didn't notice
That's
it.
because, okay, so, I mean, it's pretty clear when people are looking at your crotch. So you don't do that.
Like, unless he's wearing, like, really tight skinny jeans or just something, you can't tell. Like,
No, if he was wearing tight skinny jeans, you wouldn't be able to tell because that thing is fucking, like, taped down.
it's
at
on
that
his
point.
leg. What if it's on his leg? You
It
can
just
see
is the leg.
It's part of the leg.
So did anybody have a moment in the story that stood out to you, or that like you wanted to look at?
I mean, again, that symbol of a man thing seemed.
Oh, I got
What
one.
part did I want to look at?
On page 17, that's another question for all of you guys. Well, not Melinda, but you penis people.
You penis people. You horrible penis motherfuckers.
17.
Is it this one?
No, it's earlier. Okay, she's flopping her penis around, and she says it feels amazing. Is that a thing? Can you just
Like,
flop
can
your
the
penis?
air feel good too?
Even the air against my breast and penis feels so amazing.
So,
Can you flop your penis into?
First of all, it doesn't do that.
you can if it's sensitive enough. My penis is dead, but
I hit it with a hammer twice daily just to show it who's boss.
but her just ejaculating from like the breeze is a very. It's indicative of super sensitivity.
Well, again, I mean, if it does harken back to like puberty things like Josh was talking about, I could see that happening. Like if you just discovered it, if this is like a brand new sensation, again, there's not much that is needed to set you off, and there's not much that's needed to finish it.
Well, did it happen though?
I don't think-
No, I never swung my
No.
dick around in the middle of the
It's
fucking...
like, oh, this feels great. No, it's
No, just in
I'm
general, like
just saying-
during a breeze or something.
Just like helicopter
Yeah.
penis.
If you were inexperienced enough, I could see it, but it hasn't happened to me. No.
if you you need to have a certain length and girth in order to get an erection and then still be floppy, right? Like there's not
Yeah.
enough blood in there for it to flop around. Otherwise, you'll just have like, gah! and then flopping kind of hurts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's something that would happen to most men. It seems like there's like her being a Futanari, she's almost hypersensitive to it.
Yeah, because she's like, look at that penis. It's
Could it
flopping
be
against her
because
balls.
it's an extension of the clit, which is really sensitive? But
Well,
maybe that's
Well,
why.
how do you think like that whole hypersensitivity of the penis plays into the story?
That's the
she's-
main reason she can't, like, stop
herself.
whacking it. Yeah, like she's just can't get enough of anything.
Like her clothes make it sensitive. The air, just everything.
You're just coming
Just
over
everything.
any little thing.
Did anybody else have like a moment you wanted to point out or look at?
Let's get to the sister fucking.
as you do.
Right around here.
So, where is it before or after this one where they're... Oh yeah, I'm a virgin, so is I, but I can't help it. I need to fuck.
Oh, at one point she says she looks. Her sister looks pregnant because of all the cum inside of her. That is not a thing. What?
That's
For
the
some
thing.
reason, that's like a fetish in hentai, where like a swollen belly or like a distending the stomach with the penis, like that doesn't
It's
work.
just
Stomach
insane.
deformation and completion.
Yeah, it's because they're spewing out so much, and some girls
And
are into
then
that.
and then the sister being such a good sister, right? She's getting like cummed in her over and over. And then she's like, okay, well, we can't do this in the hallway. Here, I'll walk you to the
Yeah, they
next
fucking like crab walk.
it's lifting out right there, right? Like, the janitor's gonna come over and be like, what the fuck?
They can just follow the trail of cum. Whoever finds
What
it.
is this? Oh, there's two girls in here. Well, then none of them have a penis.
Must be mine.
Put up the white floor sign.
Wet, stinky floor. That's something I was expecting that didn't show up.
What?
The scent of the semen.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
that-
that's that would make sense if this is from like a female perspective, I think.
I think in the next one there's a small comment of
Smell.
yeah.
Yeah, there is. Which is strange, but okay.
Also, she's got the hearts in her eyes.
Oh, that's cute.
It feels so good.
Even if it means getting your sister pregnant.
Oh, that was one of my questions. I wrote it in the other one, but it
applies here as well.
yeah, it applies to both of them. Can they get pregnant?
They
That's
have
a lot of
balls.
cum.
So it's a penis and the balls and there's ejaculation and it's going into her
Here's the
sister's
thing.
goo. I don't know though because I don't know if it's her semen or just something made from the drug that
I would
Something
always
that looks
assume
like
that it was still a female ejaculation.
Yeah.
Like, I would never assume, because,
But
like,
see, here's the
they
thing.
never get pregnant, so...
Okay, well
They never get pregnant because of hentai, but see, here's the thing. This happened because
Pregnancy
of
does happen in
a
hentai,
sex
though.
change drug, right?
Sure.
So theoretically,
She's supposed to turn completely into.
yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
She did say semen.
yeah, I would imagine that the semen is an actual natural byproduct of the testicles.
Well, here's the thing. Also, it could be any of these things. It could be either that it's her own stuff, but it takes on the texture of male semen.
So it's just.
It could be male semen.
Well, again, this is hentai. The texture is whatever they fucking want.
It could be male semen, but without swimmers.
Well, I would say rather than thinking about what it literally is, why do you think that because pregnancy does happen in hentai because
Yeah,
it's a
it does.
fetish, and sometimes it's just like a romantic part of the story, and that the couple has now become a couple and now they're having children together, and sort of like a Shakespearean comedy kind of thing that happens. Why do you think?
Reproduction.
Well, yeah, because what is it that a comedy always ends in a marriage, right?
Yeah.
In a Shakespearean comedy.
And sometimes multiple marriages.
Yeah. But why do you think there is such an excessive amount of ejaculation, but pregnancy doesn't play into the story?
Because
well-
some people like to see that for some reason. It's their thing.
That's just something that's in hentai in general. Like, how many have we read where it's, oh, you're shooting right into my womb? It's a trope. It's in like fucking 9 out of 10 of these sons of
Yeah.
bitches.
Also,
And some people like it messy.
do condoms even exist in?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I've seen.
They do exist. However,
In a weird way, it's sometimes like almost meant to be like a slutty thing to use condoms. Because sometimes in hentai stories, there's the girl will get the guy to come and then she'll tie it off and then she'll put the next one on. And it's like a badge of sexuality or sexual promiscuity.
and then it's just like, oh
There
no,
is
we
a
used all the
Futanari
condoms.
I
guess you're
saw
gonna
where
go
it did
wrong.
that. Where
So-
it was like all of them had like penises and they were weighing their semen.
True story. I don't know if she wants me to tell you guys this, but her mom sent her a package a little while
I
ago.
can
Like
cut
a
it out
care
if you want me
package?
to.
No, it's fine.
Huh?
Like a care package?
Yeah, care
Yeah, but like
package,
with
right?
actual
And
clothing and stuff.
clothing and stuff that she used to have, and this huge fucking bag of condoms. It's this huge fucking Ziploc bag
She said it's like a
filled,
big ass bag.
distended condoms. It's like, God damn, Mom, how much energy do you think we have?
I know. I was sitting there like, damn, Mom. Like, what are you trying to say?
It's like, I don't care that you fuck like rabbits, but please be safe.
Oh, that's a cool mom, you gotta admit.
That's
My
a
mom-
I give you my blessing to stroke my daughter.
My mom doesn't
Give
care
her
as
one
long-
for me. Tally ho.
My mom doesn't care as long as I'm not stupid about it.
Yo, okay, so my mom, she did, it's like we could, my brothers and I, growing up, we could not have condoms anywhere. I got in trouble once because the bed that I had received from my uncle, that was his woohoo bed.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, I don't care too much, and so a little like a couple months after I'd gotten in, I'm cleaning, changing the sheets, and then a condom the bag slips out and it's torn over and it's used. I'm just like, I don't think my mom's been having sex on my bed. Her bed's nicer. And my brothers don't have girlfriends. I mean, they did it. I later found out they did, but they sucked anyways. So, my mom comes in, she sees, I'm like, what, you've been having sex? I'm just like, no, this isn't mine. And I was grounded for 3 months because my uncle didn't completely clean his bed. Like, I was like, oh, I found a condom. It's like, okay, why are you mad at me for using the condom? If I did
You should
that.
have been like, oh, are you having sex? Here are more condoms.
Well, that's this nation is still recovering from like the abstinence only mentality.
I
Like,
guess.
that's
I mean,
that's a major like cultural boo boo that we.
Oh no, she didn't care. She didn't care at that point about sexual oppression. She's like, no, you're not gonna have sex in my house. That's gross. I have to clean that up.
Even though you were the one cleaning your bed.
I mean, I was changing the sheets, but yeah, she actually cleans the whole house, and so it's understandable. I have the same rule. I don't clean it up. It's just your room stinks. Stop it.
So what do you all think about how the story resolves, where it's these two sisters end up basically sexing their brains out, and then all the semen is gone.
I think there's a very. Again, what was the word I tried to use? Predetermined.
Preconceived notion?
Yeah, there's a very preconceived notion about what male sexuality is and how it feels to men that I don't think necessarily tracks with the real world, which is why I was interested as to like what gender the original writer was.
Also, quick question: did she sleep without underwear?
That's a good point. I didn't notice that.
I don't know a lot of women, like, I understand sleeping in the nude, right? But just having a shirt on and no underwear.
Or do you think it like snapped off like a rubber band when she grew all the fucking
Penis.
element trunks?
Well, it looks like she has tight underwear on. A lot of women don't sleep with underwear just because it's tight and
She could be wearing.
It's bad for your vagina to sleep with tight clothes on.
She could wear like female boxers, but I guess it was just her and her sister. Yeah, I guess she doesn't need that.
They don't look shy about that kind of thing with each other. I think on the second to last page, she says, the older sister says that the experiment was a success because of how much cum. Like it says it's more than even a man could give.
So what was the point of the experiment?
Yeah, that's
It's like, are you just trying to? Well, I mean, she's trying to solve, Japan's, falling birth rates. It's like, okay, well, clearly the men aren't doing their things. We're gonna have to get some of the women to do it.
We need some more.
So you have to start passing out these drugs to all the kids in school.
That kind of goes into what you were saying earlier, Chaz, about male virility and sexual identity being tied to your penis and your ability to ejaculate and procreate.
Yeah.
Where the experiment is a success because it's able to make a woman more masculinely sexual than a man due to the amount of semen that it's able to produce.
Seriously, she fills up her vagina and her ass.
And I wonder what would happen if she gave whatever she gave her sister to a guy. Like, would he have two penises? Would it be kind of like Viagra?
Would he turn
Would
into
it
a
just-
woman?
Yeah, would he turn
Opposite
into
of
a
her.
woman?
Is this just the prequel to Ranma 1/2?
Does anybody else have any parting comments you'd like to make about this story before I move on to the next one?
So at the end, is she saying that she wants to have a penis again, or that she wants to cream pie her sister?
Do you think maybe you could use your experiment again sometime?
Yeah. Or is she saying, if you want to give me other things that make me a sex crazy maniac,
I think she's okay with having the penis again, so she can just screw her sister silly.
I gotta say one thing, and I guess I did come into this with a bit of
bias.
not a bias,
Expectation?
anticipation.
Oh.
Yeah, is I did not expect the Futanari part to facilitate girl on girl action. I thought it was more, some guys are into she-males, I guess. So, I guess maybe I don't know. I just don't know the tag well enough or something. But I thought it was interesting, and that's what makes me think that maybe it is more of a. Well, I don't know. Like, who does this? I don't know.
If Futanari is your tag, would you kindly explain to us what you find about it interesting? For the sake of
Research.
research and just sexual enlightenment, I guess.
It's like Yuri, but not as boring.
I mean, I do agree if you're going in for penetration, it's having the extra pair of boobs is nice, but I don't know.
Let's move on to the next story.
That also has dick girl and female.
It seemed to me that's the prevalent plot that happens is usually woman or Futanari on woman.
Yeah.
Like you said, there is male on Futanari.
And incest. They both have incest.
For some reason, that
True.
was
Good point.
in the
I didn't
popular
notice that,
ones.
actually.
You didn't notice that?
No.
You didn't notice by all the chapters?
Again, it's a fucking hentai trope. Onichan, eh?
Because incest. I mean, we'll get to that tag at some
Onen,
point.
onen.
But incest was just kind of there, right? Like they didn't go out seeking to fuck their sister.
Yeah, it just happened.
They
They were
the
just
sister
readily available.
that was just the vagina that happened to be there.
Yeah, so the next story we have is Sister's Ring from Koakuma Kanojo, or Cute Devil Girlfriend. And so who here would like to give me the recap of this one? Can't be
This one's a
Chaz,
fun
he already
one.
did one.
Are we limited to one porno per person?
This one is about, like, It's kind of like the premise of the movie The Ring, where if you watch it, something bad happens or you die.
Oh, but this one's
But this one's more fun. Where you don't die, just something weird happens to you. I know in the video, I don't remember if she watched the DVD, but in the video version of this, like there's one half where there's a girl that just turns into a succubus completely.
That's actually in the. This is from a collection where that story's also in
I was
there.
gonna say, but yeah, if you watch this DVD, this girl, she ends up taking a CD home from one of her friends, going like, "Hey, can you like take care of this?" She's like, "Sure." And she's actually, "I don't like this, I don't like scary stuff." And she ends up watching it, and she ends up growing a penis. And at first she's freaked out, and then her sister comes in and going like, "Why are you screaming?" And she sees that she has a penis, and then her sister just starts giving her a handy, and then they have sex.
Well, we gotta take care of this.
Yeah, it's like we have to.
And it's kind of rape because she's.
Yeah, like to me that
it's-
kind of seemed like part of the curse of the DVDs that you become a rapist.
Yeah, well, you get that. It's probably similar to the last one where like
She
she
can't
got
help
the
herself.
male, like, you know, I guess what they think is the male feeling. She's like,
Because all men are rapists.
I can't control this, and she ends up like screwing her sister. And then, like, in the very end, her sister ends up growing one back after watching it and getting revenge on her.
Revenge penis.
Can we just give a shout out to the fucking subtitle? Was it say Futanari Fantasia?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, that just seemed very amusing to me.
So do you all think there was like sort of a driving conflict within this story outside of the literal plot that's happening?
Well, she had to get rid of her penis.
It's like as soon as you grow a penis, you have to have sex.
Yeah, like it feels so good.
What else are you supposed to do with it? It's pretty.
That's
worthless.
what happened to me. I mean, I was
Standing
6 months old, just...
If I had a penis, I would try peeing standing up because I want to know what it's like.
You can get the little funnel thing.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's also really weird to just carry that around.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Like, that's the main fantasy I've heard from women more than anything else.
Pee
It's
standing
never
up.
anything sexual. I just want to pee standing up.
Yeah.
Hey, that might be sexual.
I mean, it's pretty convenient.
Okay, then I guess I'm the black sheep because mine is just purely sexual. I'm like, what does that
You
feel
don't want to
like?
pee standing up?
Well,
No.
first I'd pee standing up, and then I'd.
It's second in life.
Sorry, Josh, your girlfriend grew a penis. You're gonna have to take it.
You gotta take it like a man.
And that happens in some of these stories.
We'll get to bar attack later.
So who has a moment in this text that stood out to you that you'd like us to elaborate on?
Just, again, I feel like there's a very preconceived notion of male sexuality in it.
Yeah.
She gets fairly rapey.
She
yeah,
does.
because the sisters.
Well, her
It's
sister
telling
is
her to
actually
stop.
very forward about it at first.
Yeah, her sister's just like,
She's like, this is cool, rub,
Yeah.
rub.
oh boy, I love playing. It's like this is a penis. This is gonna be fun to play with. And then
I like how she doesn't know what comes out of it, too, is my
Oh.
favorite part.
My favorite part. At least it's not hideous and grotesque like in those manga. Like, was that the author's condemnation of other works?
It's
in
got,
the
like,
genre?
the orc penis where it's, like,
in this
bloody.
one though, like the penis or the penis just coming out of the vagina,
Yeah, I pointed
Yeah.
that out
and
too.
there's no balls.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, there's not.
No balls.
Then where's the cum coming from?
Magical semen.
Is it her?
It's coming
maybe?
from where
Her,
a
maybe?
female comes from.
Okay, there's also I noticed that in this one the censorship is like a thin white line,
It's super lazy.
but on page
Also, look how veiny that thing is. Holy shit.
on
'Cause it's
page
buff.
9. Can you change it to on page 9? They changed that censorship into it's just like a word. They use it right there, where it says no, not there. They don't have the thin white line, but they use
The onomatopoeia.
yeah. I thought that was kind of cool.
What does that say? My 1 year of Japanese class, literally half my life ago, is trying to translate that as like a
I'm trying to use my Duolingo.
dehu, but I don't think that could be. That can't be
No,
right.
I'm trying to remember from Duolingo, but I can't
Like
remember.
that's definitely katakana.
Mhm.
So does that mean it's a sound that doesn't exist in Japan?
Splurt. No.
I think
so
the circle ends with an O usually.
go up real quick. Previous page.
No, previous page?
Yeah. So she goes from tit job, right?
Mm-hmm.
into forcing it in her mouth. And I don't know what is the sister's reaction at this point?
It looks like she's crying. I mean, there's a lot of
I
stuff.
think that's just because she's gagging. But
yeah,
I don't
that
know.
just happens.
Is she interested? Is she confused?
I don't think she was terribly down for most of this. In fact, she is fucking crying if you look in the bottom right panel there.
Yeah. I mean, if she's down for rubbing it until, like, her sister's just like, no, you know what? I'm gonna take care of this myself.
And then it escalates very quickly.
Like, it's like, I'm
Go to the
going
next-
to give you a forcible tip job and then force it into your mouth.
And
Which
then
again
force
could
it into
be-
your vagina.
Again, that could say something about what they think male sexuality is, because it's like, oh, well, if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
You guys are monsters.
I don't think it's necessarily as malevolent as that. I just think it's very misinformed.
I was just kidding.
I know.
There's a lot. Where
But I'm
she's
sure there's
saying-
I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that are going to listen to what I say and think, "Oh, this comic just thinks men are terrible." No. I find it very interesting the way they think our brains and our libido works. I'm sorry, Anna, please continue.
They're going back to whether she wants it or not. Right there, saying no, don't shoot it inside of me. She still does it. Then she's like, oh no, She tells her she has to swallow it all. Then she goes, no, not in there. When she's putting it in her vagina, I'm pretty sure
It's very rapey.
Yeah.
Okay, but when does she get hearts in her eyes? Because that's when we know that she's okay with it.
Well, also, there are some men that just act like sex is the last thing on this freaking planet. And, like, they can't get enough of it. Like, I have known guys like that, and it's ridiculous. Like, they just need to screw something all the time.
I don't know. I've never felt like that. I guess I just have hobbies.
I know, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you or anybody else in
I
here.
mean, don't get me wrong. It's great. I don't turn you down very often. Maybe once or twice in the history of our relationship, but...
Yeah, but, like, I'm just saying, like, I've known
guys get headaches too.
I've just known some men that are just, like, ridiculously, like, monkey-like, that they just need to be on something all the time, like a dog.
I just carry around a flashlight in my pants.
You know there's somebody out there that does it.
Yeah, fucking weirdos.
What do you think it says at the... Because to me, a lot of these times, even though the sexual acts are forced and there's the resistance to it, it's usually played off by the end as
It was
something.
okay.
Yeah, that was okay. Like by the end, she's fine with it, and she's like, now it's my turn to do this.
It's like, oh, I understand. You had a penis. It's what you do.
Like, oh, I get it now. Because now it's happening to me.
Well, again, it's not a mind break. I mean, I don't think the rape trauma is actually something that the the story is going for. So of course they're just going to.
With this one, she's just like, all right, now I'm gonna fuck you.
It's kind of like, you know, when Byrick Ash goes on a murder spree and the storyteller just doesn't want to deal with it, so the police never go looking for him. It's kind of like that.
Well, yeah, it was the Nazis that did that.
Oh, yes, of course.
The bodies were arranged in a giant swastika.
As the Nazis do.
So did anybody else have something else you wanted to point out or talk about this story? Do you think the experimentation idea was as present in this one as it was in the others? Because I think it's there because by the end, the younger sister's like, now it's my turn to get to experiment what it's like.
It's
Did
there,
you
but it's
guys-
not as prevalent.
Did you guys notice that the younger sister, I guess the one playing the feminine role, has larger breasts than the older one?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you think that means anything?
Well, I
In
mean,
terms
she
of,
gets
like,
the
the
dick at
gender
the
roles?
end.
Huh?
She gets the dick at the end.
And I think her dick is bigger too.
It looks like the size of her torso, kind of. Like half of her
Well, she's
torso.
kind of hunching over.
Yeah, but
Well,
maybe like
all
half
of
her
ours are
torso.
the size of our torso.
Do you think it changes anything about how the Futanari element happens in the story? The first one, it's a scientific experiment, and this one, it's kind of like a horrific curse.
I think the ring is just a cultural thing over there.
You think this is
I
kind of
mean-
just touching on the element of like parody and...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The penis is just this awful thing that just makes you want to fuck everything.
So if a guy sees that thing, do you think you guys would get vaginas?
It says they died. Right?
Oh.
At the
Yeah,
first
guys
page.
die, women get penises. I feel like
Yeah,
That's
the girls
unfair.
tell her, they say a senior was given this DVD and that he died right afterwards.
that, or he just
And that does look like a male arm, by the way. I know that sounds strange, but if you look, that's
No, the
pretty
hands.
clearly a
Yeah,
male's,
yeah.
what do you call it? Male school uniform.
So let's say if you guys watched it, you'd get vaginas. What would you three do with your vagina?
Hey, Melinda, guess what we're doing today?
I don't.
Let
wanna,
me watch too so I can get the other
I
one.
don't have anything I want to do with a vagina, right? Like
Just shove everything.
You wouldn't?
right there.
shove everything in there.
just an extra pocket.
You could try the weightlifting I was telling you guys about.
Why would we strength train a vagina that we're only going to have for like 8 hours anyway?
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. How long do I have it? I don't know if I shove anything in there and it changes back. Is it still stuck in there?
Or is it just like impacted in your nutsack?
Oh
There's so
You
many
asked a
things that
terrifying question.
I have thought about this before, and there's too many variables that I don't want to risk.
Just pretend
no!
it's
So
sounding.
nobody would try to have multiple orgasms?
I don't know why, but I feel like most men don't have that fantasy of I wonder what it's like for the female orgasm to feel like.
That's true. I've never thought about that.
Well, it's awesome.
It seems pretty awesome.
It just keeps going.
I mean, fuck, can you imagine if we did, we would never get shit done. If I can go forever and you can go forever, then we're going forever.
Well, I guess at this point I'd kind of like to get into talking about these two texts in tandem and in relationship to each other. So, one of the questions I had was, why do you all think these Futanari stories feature women unable to control themselves once they experience the male orgasm?
Because it's different. It's probably to them it probably feels different than what they normally
It's just-
have. It's a different sensation and they've never had it before.
And once I have, they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, they're
except
just like,
keep
I
going.
can't help it.
Okay, well, like to be fair, for the first story, it was a necessity, right?
So it
She
would be
needed to
gone.
get all that semen out.
Yeah.
Well, for the second one it was as well.
But she didn't know.
I think that was just part of the Ringu. Honestly, I think it turns you into this horrible rapist with a penis. Because all rapists have penises. Again, I think
And the guy just dies. So.
either there's two ways that I see this, and I could be wrong. It's just my point of view. Either one, the author believes that the male orgasm is so incredible that it's uncontrollable, or two, that's just how they see guys.
It's like, why else would we always go for sex if it didn't feel that great?
That, you know what? I wonder if that's like a misconception among women.
That totally is. That totally is. I've known girls that have talked about it. And
Wow.
like I've said, I've met guys that act like it's the last thing on the planet to have. It's
Like,
just
like,
sex.
there's got to be some women out there that think it's like fucking heroin to jack off.
It's more like math.
What?
You shouldn't just do it. It's pretty self-destructive. You could be more productive than just masturbating all day.
Oh, that's where your analogy was going.
What? It's bad for your teeth?
I wasn't sure. I was like, you shouldn't just do meth. I was like, what else do you want them to do besides meth?
Anything else?
So what kind of difference do you think what kind of difference is the text trying to state there is between the male and female orgasm?
I think it's making it seem like the male orgasm is way better.
Absolutely.
Which again, I don't know who wrote that, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Again, see, now I feel slightly justified in asking who the author was, because I'm like, I want to know what their mindset was.
It's pretty great. Don't get me wrong, but
It's not. It doesn't suck.
even after the first time, I was thinking like, oh my god, I need to do this every time I can. Because at some point, like, you tell your penis, no,
You get
we're not doing this right now.
I think when I first discovered what mine did, I think there was a good block of like 3 months. You know what I mean?
Constant,
No.
Constant,
Like
just
between.
constant ejaculation.
like constant stimulation to yourself.
No, like one, and then I like wait 3 months. I was like, oh hey, yeah, that's right. This is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Maybe I'm like hormonally maldeveloped or something. Like I'm not wired
You're like
properly.
a 40-year-old virgin. He's like, I don't do that much.
Okay, there's two kinds of people in this world: people who masturbate and liars. But that being said, like,
But there are people that just don't have the
Yeah,
urge very
okay, yeah,
People
that's
who
true.
don't-
Now we can talk about like corner case individuals where there's
Yeah.
like asexual people and whatnot. No, I'm not trying to invalidate them.
Yes,
I'm just saying like blanket statements.
Yeah.
Blanket statements taken with a grain of salt.
How do you all think the difference between the male orgasm and the female orgasm was
Holy
depicted
crap!
in
I'm
the
sorry.
story?
I just realized. You think anybody's jerked off to this podcast yet?
We're not
What?
doing anything sexy.
You.
I mean, we're talking. That's pretty
If it-
sexy to some people.
Unless someone starts hearing moaning in the background, they have a different issue. Or we
Like,
have a
if we're
problem
just
in here.
like we're just describing the porn, like, oh yeah, that sounds good, and just imagining shit.
What the hell is wrong with you?
I have a dark imagination.
So you were saying, Josh, about the differences
Josh,
between...
Yeah. How do you think these two texts are? How is the female orgasm depicted differently from the male
Not
orgasm?
nearly as
It's
good
not
as the male.
nearly as intense
It,
or
I-
messy.
yeah. It also didn't seem like the important thing. The important thing was for the penis to ejaculate, not for...
Not for the women.
Not-
yeah, it's
yeah.
like, come on. I mean, yeah, both of them were kind of like forced into it. So their ejaculation wasn't important.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that in a Futanari story, even though sometimes both a vagina and a penis can be present, the penis still takes precedence?
Well, I mean, you know what you're here for.
Yeah.
I'm here for the dick girl, and so I want to see the dick girl ejaculate buckets of cum.
Yeah, if you're not here for the dick, then you're looking up a different tag. You're looking up lesbians or something.
Vanilla Yuri.
I think also it's part of how it just sways the plot of the story.
Why do you think the multiple and excessive ejaculations are something that seem to be tied to Futanari?
Is it though?
Well, it's
Yeah.
usually
It's something that happens a lot.
yeah, it's usually for like just for the purpose of getting rid of it.
I
Also, go ahead.
I think in the universes where they just got a penis and they don't know what to do with it, I think it's because they're still experimenting with themselves, and so just everything sets it off. How they can produce all that semen, hentai is magic, but in the context of those stories, it's just like, wow, this feels great, sploosh.
Again, I think that's just something that happens in hentai. Is you always have the guys coming at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
With
Typically not as excessive as what happened here.
yeah,
You think?
she
Yeah.
filled up both holes.
Yeah.
And
So
it
the
was
shot-
all over her sister.
Yeah,
I mean,
She filled up a messenger bag.
again, that's not something that is completely foreign to the realm of non-Futanari, though.
is it?
Yeah,
Is
well,
it though?
here's the thing.
How many times have
Well,
you
it's
seen
not that
one
it-
dude do that?
It's not that it's not something that doesn't happen in other stories, but why do you think it tends to be a featured
Oh,
element?
okay, I see what you're saying.
What do you think it is about women with penises that seems to attract the element of multiple and excessive ejaculation?
Maybe it's like similar to like a female orgasm.
Like,
It might be like
They could have multiple.
yeah,
They have the
multiple and intense ones. So.
frequency of the female with the intensity of the male orgasm.
Maybe that's what it is.
That's debilitating.
Maybe
I can
it's-
see now why they just don't do anything else.
Maybe that's what I've been missing all along, is that it's not a preconceived notion of the male orgasm, but rather it's meant to be both facets of both orgasms combined.
I also remember that reading that I do believe that the more a man ejaculates, like the larger the volume of what you expel, that it usually tends to be a stronger orgasm.
Right.
So I was wondering, do you all think that might be something that plays into it?
Probably.
I mean, I've never came
Like
buckets.
they act like they're really pent up, even though they just came, but they're always pent up. So it's like,
So you,
So it just
you
kinda
never came
explodes.
buckets, so just like one big pickle bucket at once?
what about a cup full of...
Okay, like this cup? Because that's gonna take some work.
no, how about that soda can?
What was that one?
That's easier.
What was that one thing you read on iFunny or something about a guy that jerked off like 38 times in a day?
It died?
That you can scar your penis that way, though.
You absolutely
you
can.
can
Can you
split it
really?
open.
Yeah.
I
you
had
can-
no idea you could do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Wilt Chamberlain or somebody else. but they had sex so much in a single set amount of time, their penis is kind of split.
Oh.
The guy I was reading about, he had masturbated 47 times in a row.
And didn't we work that out to being like he would have to like jizz every 3 minutes or something?
Yeah, like this guy gotta be on some kind of drugs, all right? Because it was within like assuming he got up at like fucking.
You know what it was?
10 a.m.
You know what it was? This was right before Faku went on subscription, and he wanted to kill his time worth.
And yeah, so he would get like around like let's say 8, and then he was found dead at like 6 p.m. ish. So
did he like overdrive his heart or?
Yeah, he had a heart
He
attack.
used the rest of his heartbeats.
He used all of his heartbeats to masturbate.
You're gonna have to explain that one real quick about the whole heartbeat.
Okay, so there's a little bit of science behind this. There's not a whole lot though. So every creature has a set amount of heartbeats. I don't remember it was 3 or 30 billion, and that's why creatures with lower metabolisms live longer, right? Because their heart isn't beating as fast. So that's why turtles and elephants live longer than like rodents. Are fucking small, but they're just hearts beating so fucking fast. I joke about that to the extent that you do have a set amount of heartbeats. You just don't know what that number is.
Yeah, how many it is.
And things you do will make it go higher or lower, but you don't know what that number is. So take care of yourselves, people. You don't want to risk it.
So here's something fun.
Well, that's not good for him. Anxiety. So.
Oh yeah, he's already lost like 30 years.
Here's something fun we can talk about due to the topic of the story, but how would we describe the difference between the male and the female orgasm?
I don't think I can, mainly because...
I don't think any of us can because we're not in each other's...
Yeah, not in each other's bodies, but how would we best explain the kind of orgasm we have? Either the male orgasm or the female orgasm.
Well, I think
loud noises!
I think we should talk about the one we're qualified for.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Okay.
so, but it basically explain how you feel an orgasm. Yes?
Yeah, how would you best explain what an orgasm for you feels like?
How I've used it, what I've used to explain it, which I think is actually a common way of explaining a female orgasm, is really having to pee.
Yeah, for some reason. And it does. It happens. Like it's like the weirdest sensation, and then it comes out, and it's just like awesome. It feels better.
I've had different orgasms. Like they're not all the same.
One was blue.
That's true for men because men you can have a prostate orgasm, you can have an orgasm from your penis.
Well, it's the same thing for women. You can have all
Yeah.
sorts of orgasms.
Yeah,
And then you can also have an abdominal orgasm where you feel it from like from the pelvic muscles kind of up to your abs.
Getting the full...
Yeah, sometimes it happens during sex, but people who work out a lot sometimes will experience it while they're working out. So some people who describe working out like sex,
This is because...
that might be something that's actually happening to them.
They're actually
Yeah, it's like the
getting
flood of endorphins and stuff being released throughout your body.
And there's like, God, this feels great. It's like, it feels better than it should.
So how would you describe the kind of orgasms that you're referring to?
Pick one.
The blue one.
Okay, so wet dream orgasms don't count. I have no control over that. And the experience is lost on me because you wake up and you forget. I don't know the words. There's already a word. It's orgasm.
Even if you can just make noises or hand gestures.
Well, I'm not Italian,
We're
so I
getting
don't really
it.
speak with my hands.
We're getting to the racy parts, guys. Buckle your seatbelts.
Wait, this is the racy part? We were just talking about chicks with dickens and buckets of cum. I think they're way past that.
But noises are better.
Well, Chess, as a writer, how would you best explain the male orgasm as you've experienced it?
As the way I would best explain the male orgasm is
The bliss in between the dread.
so imagine that you are walking
Oh my god.
in the darkness and there's a hill somewhere, but you don't quite know where the hill is. You're just trying to get there. So then you get to the hill and you can start climbing. And as you're climbing the hill, you feel this buildup of pressure. And then you get to the top of the hill, you get over the top, and then that pressure releases. And it's a very, very, very nice, very invigorating, very leisurely walk down the other side of the hill. Does that...
No, yeah, well, that's one way to explain it, right?
That's one way. Now here's the right way.
No. I know. If I were to explain what a male orgasm feels like, it's like a mindless state of being as it's happening. It's not that you can't think during sex. It's that, like, as that orgasm is approaching, it's kind of like other sensations kind of get lost
Yeah.
Oh,
It
as you
disappears.
start focusing on what's happening.
Including pain, which has been a problem.
For you?
I have cut myself multiple
Oh my
times.
God.
like on your penis?
No, not on my penis. On other parts of my body that weren't my penis.
Okay.
But because I wasn't focused on anything
I
else.
got really worried for you.
No. My penis has not been cut open.
It's like, what kind of teeth girl did you screw
Oh,
away?
only the best moe fangs.
You were saying?
Yeah, and it's like you're kind of losing the sensation of everything else that's happening. And then it's like this pressure. That's like, I feel like it's a common way to explain it for the male
Pressure.
orgasm. It's
Well,
pressure, like
you feel
something.
this, but it's like a happy pressure.
Yeah,
right?
it's like
this
something's
build
building
up.
Well, girls feel that. Well, girls feel that pressure too,
But
and
we-
then
but
like
we
it
don't have to
releases
pee.
from like the pelvis area.
Because if we peed at the same time, that'd be a problem.
That's a different issue.
Well, for girls, if you feel like you have to pee, it's most likely just you're gonna squirt.
I've never done that personally, but like it's like the sensation for like a second, and then the pressure releases, and then like you come, and then that's like
And
that's
then it feels like waves.
yeah,
Yeah, like waves.
waves.
Oh, sorry, we keep.
No, it's okay. It's like that pressure builds up, and then all of a sudden it's like,
Yeah, like
there, it happened. Then you just kind of slowly
Go to sleep.
calm down. You come down and you calm down, I guess.
I
And then-
definitely get that. You kind of lose. Well, to me, it's happened where I just can't think.
yeah, we lose our minds sometimes. We're like, what?
What just happened? Why are you naked?
Who are you?
What are you,
Not that severely. You know?
what are you doing in the house?
Well, it's like men kind of have like 3 orgasms that can happen, but women also have the clitoral and the vaginal orgasm. Is there a way to explain the difference between how that feels?
Oh, that's hard.
I don't know. I'm gonna be honest here. I don't know what kind of orgasms I've had. I can't tell you.
Yeah, at first it's pretty cut and dry what kind of orgasm you're having.
For some reason, for me, the clitoral ones are a little faster than
Yeah.
the vaginal ones because it's so sensitive that, like, you know, it just happens fast.
I feel like it's easier
Yeah.
too than a vaginal orgasm. So I'm not entirely sure. If I think I have, but I don't know. Have had a vaginal orgasm, so I can't really tell you the difference. If I'm honest.
Well, that's the only difference that, you know, that I can tell, that, like, when I do come from clitoral, it's faster, and with vaginal, it takes a little bit longer.
So I hope that's answered some people's questions.
But you get to enjoy
People who
the
are
whole
like, well,
ride.
what does it feel like for the other person? It's kind of hard to explain.
I personally get a little bit of a sense of accomplishment afterwards.
No, that's kind of
I
understandable,
did the
right?
thing.
Definitely.
I get that when she comes, not when I do it.
Oh, well, I
And
mean,
then I get that when you do.
Really?
So, yeah.
Yeah, same
I'm
here.
like, yay, I felt good.
good job, me.
High fives all around.
I have never had a manual override done to me personally.
Oh, you mean up the pooper? I've never had that either.
Oh, sweet lord.
Never been curious about it. Not looking forward to turning 40 and getting a prostate again.
Oh, doctor.
No, if anybody here, if there's any men here who've experienced the prostate orgasm as we haven't, please feel free to explain it to us.
Bob, come back.
Dude, can you imagine how immeasurably he could add to this?
When we get
Just
to
the podcast.
when we get to the anal tag, we have to have
They're specialists.
Gotta bring Bob on board.
So now as we bring this episode of the Hentai Literature Club of Futanari to a close, let's bring it back to the tradition we have set the precedent for, where we try to come up with our own Futanari story.
This is the best part.
Let's see. Chaz, do you have any dice on you?
You'd think I would, wouldn't you? But no.
I do. I don't know where they are. That's a lie. No,
I actually have a complete set of the 5th edition system reference document, as well as a Vampire the Masquerade Storyteller's Handbook. No dice. Quite literally.
Yeah,
I just need a
okay.
D6. I'm assuming you don't have a D5.
Sorry. I don't know, Josh.
You don't have a D5.
Plebeians. No. And some people are probably like, what the fuck is a D5? A D5 is a real dice. Chaz and I
It's a
both
five.
being super nerds.
It's a 5-sided dice, guys.
Well, no, that's really fucking like a lot of people can't picture that. Remember that was in one of the Cthulhu or Old Man Henderson,
Yeah.
like a 6-sided or a D6 with 5 sides.
Mm-hmm.
It's just Google image search. It's not that complicated. Also play Dungeon Crawl Classics. It's a great game.
It's fun. So fun.
It's fucking great, isn't it?
I ran it for her and some other people.
Right fucking there. Love DCC.
Yeah, we'll go
Relax.
Xavier 1, Melinda 2, Chaz 3, Ana 4, me 5. We'll re-roll if anybody's already gotten it. So, who's coming up with the setting? 1, 2, 3. Chaz, what is the setting for a Futanari story?
The setting. Okay, so I'm the guy that has to like subvert tropes and like take this in a weird direction.
Somebody's
I have a part already.
It is set in a prehistoric land where dinosaurs still stalk the earth,
Oh my god.
and humanity is reduced to hunter-gatherer tribes in small villages and cliquish family units.
You fucked up my vision.
Okay, is this like Jurassic Park took over,
Or is it
or is it
prehistoric?
before?
Um,
I guess you did say prehistoric. Though.
Yeah. So, kind of like Tarzan with dinosaurs.
Okay, sounds great.
So
Land of the Lost.
So it's like that place from Pathfinder, Realm of the Mammoth Lords. There's still like dinosaurs roaming around.
I guess.
Yeah, it's up north. On the northern part of Galarian.
I know where
Oh,
it
yeah.
is, but I'm trying to... If that helps you visualize it, then by all means, because I'm not going to be a control freak about this hypothetical hentai.
People are still very primitive, right?
Alright, so who's going to be our Futanari character? 1, 2, well, I guess I'm coming up with the Futanari
Oh
character.
boy, it's a dude.
I will say
Double
that
Dick Dave.
one of these villages in one of these prehistoric societies, it's a matriarchal society, but the shaman has to be a woman who's born as a Futanari. And so we'll say the female Futanari protagonist is the next girl who's up and coming for becoming the next village female shaman. 1, 2, Melinda. Who's the other person this Futanari's having sex with?
They don't have to be human.
Could be a dinosaur.
Could be a dinosaur for training. Could be a little.
Could
boy
it be
for
another
training.
Futanari?
Yeah, of course. Could be a Futanari dinosaur monster girl if you want.
Oh my god. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it could be a girl that got hers from a creature. Because it's all prehistoric, right?
Mm-hmm.
The penis dinosaur.
Tentacle monster. I'm gonna wrap that in there a little bit, like a Cthulhu kind of deal. And it just like he like gives a baby and it attaches itself to her and it attaches itself to her nerves and everything and she gets one, and she has to hide it.
So her penis is a tentacle?
Yeah. Yes.
Is the
It
tentacle
looks
monster?
like a penis, but it has attached. to
It's
her.
actually a parasite.
Yeah, like that. and it needs sex.
So, Xavier will be 1, 2, 3. He will be 4, 5, 6. Who's coming up with the first elements of the plot? Xavier.
Oh boy.
How do these two characters come into contact with each other?
Okay, so the matriarch has to prove herself, right, with some kind of hunt, and the other woman is being controlled by the parasite, and so it needs to breed. And so she gets attacked, right? The matriarch gets attacked by the parasite woman, and it's thinking, okay, I'm going to use this vessel to breed. Finds out, bam, she's got a penis, no vagina. And now it's very confused. But the matriarch's just like, no, this is gonna happen now.
Hey, quick, someone write this down.
Turns the table on the tentacle monster.
Okay, so then she.
Wait a second. Do you mean the matriarch or the girl upcoming to be the matriarch that we decided?
The up and coming one.
Okay.
She's
the next in line woman.
Yes.
Okay, so then she's gonna have sex with her, and she fucks her so hard the parasite is pushed out of her body.
Filled her up with so much cum. Left, right.
It just fires off. Kills something. The hunt is complete.
Yeah. What is the resolution to this?
Well, okay, so then
reverse rape.
So she pushes out the parasite, and as she does that, she sees more women coming up and trying to attack her because they have also been attacked by a parasite and now have parasite penises, and she becomes the hero.
Damn it, knock off Cthulhu.
Our hero and savior, and she fucks the parasites out of all of those women.
I like it.
Well, there you go. That is the Caffeinated Conquest Hentai Literature
Whoa,
Club.
we gotta
Name
Oh
it.
yeah, name it. I always forget the name for some reason.
What was the name of the last ones we've done?
Nobody remembers that shit.
I think I might already have one.
Okay.
Okay.
What about Futanari Female Fighter?
Huh. I actually kind of like it.
What was the second word?
Femori?
What does that mean?
Can you explain it?
Okay, well, I'm guessing you're using Fomori in the werewolf, the apocalypse sense, and not necessarily in the Celtic ancient Irish sense.
More along the line like that, I guess.
A human being that has been corrupted by a alien influence.
Okay, got it.
How does the original Celtic one go, though?
The Fomori were just fucking people that were on the islands, and they threw them the fuck off because of who was it, Mackenwee or something?
Yeah, there we go. Is that
Cool,
the story?
cool name.
Is that the story title we're going with, or does anybody else have another one?
I like that one.
All right, yeah, that is the official Caffeinated Conquest Futanari story, Futanari Female Fighter. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Hentai Literature Club. If you want to follow us on other platforms, you can look down in the description of either the audio for this or the video for this. You can follow us on social media. You can interact with us if you comment. We will almost always get a response to you, sometimes immediately, and sometimes it might take us a few days if we're busy with other things. If you really like what we do here, you can donate to our Patreon and you can give us money. And we will eventually be able to pay for that Faku description that Xavier doesn't want. And yeah, stay caffeinated.
Yeah.